Omarr Norman-Lott, our first pick of the night, which you guys loved in our mock draft. We drafted him in our mock draft. Obviously, we'll get into what we love about him, but some of the skeptics of Chief fans who are pretty much saying he only started 5 games, he didn't get that many reps on the field, and a lot of people are saying if this guy only started 5 games in college, how is he going to be someone who can be a contributor to our team day one? So you guys tell me how Omarr Norman-Lott can be a contributor day one for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, they call him probably the most talented pass rushing defensive tackle that was in the draft, for one. Teja was talking about how heavy his hands were. He's another guy that has a high motor. There's 11 hands. I mean, he's an absolute mitts.
Let's do a mine on him. Just compare that. Go ahead. Keep going.
And so when we look at it, he contributes for the simple fact that Tennessee had a lot of guys on the defensive line that was making rotation. So there were certain things they asked him to do that he didn't have to do. He had to come in and play every down, okay? Because they had a lot of dudes that was out there in Tennessee, right? So we had to sit there and talk about, James Pierce is another guy. I mean, so it depends on the scheme of guys that our teams utilize certain players, but also too, same thing in evaluation, right? They're looking at all the tape that we're not seeing. They're looking at the practice tape. They're meeting the guy. They're talking to the coaches. They're saying everything. And so they're just not picking it from a YouTube video that you watch for 15 minutes on a guy or 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden say, hey, man, let's go ahead and take this guy. They can look at all the things he does wrong. They can look at, see if he's in shape. Does he have, the type of win to make it for an entire game? And if we're fitting him on our line, it's going to be a rotation. It's going to be a rotation. Because guess what? We got guys in here that can rotate with him. He's going to fit exactly well. So if we need for him to be in the spurt of this playing, let's say, 50% of the snaps. But those 50% of snaps are quality snaps. Come on, man. That's what we need. I need quality reps from guys. And if he can get that 100% from each one of those reps, if it's 50% of what all the total snaps are, I'm good with it. And he's shown he's that guy. So that's the reason, Marcus. That's exactly how. So
my hands are 9.5, by the way. I just did that measurement. So
it's not bad.
I'd love to know what yours are, JD.
Yeah. I think mine's
meat hooks.
Yeah. His sucker's right here, baby.
Yeah. I have, for my height, I'm only like 5'10", 5'11". I got big hands. Marcus can tell you.
Big hands.
Banana hands.
Oh, I'm all thumbs, so it's huge thumbs. That's
got big thumbs. Yes, you got big thumbs.
Massive. My thumbs are the length of my index finger. So Norman-Lott, very interesting, and it's really funny because he's kind of like the anti-Gelati, right? The same things you can say about Gelati, you can say the opposite about Norman-Lott. PFF loves Norman-Lott. He was their 34th ranked player, right? They love him. Mm-hmm. And that's a guy who's played 80-something run stop snaps. That's someone who's played. I read a crazy stat about him today about the guys who loved him on the show. He only played more than 30 snaps. He hasn't played more than 30 snaps in a game since like early mid 2023.
Wow.
That's crazy. So he really is a part-time player, but those same people love him, right? Those same exact people who know those things say it. They say he's going to be a better pro than he was in college. They blame Tennessee's system for all that. Just his pass rush win rate is just ridiculous. Marcus and I were talking about that earlier. So 19%, that's like 97th percentile, right? Underrated, not really underrated anymore. He was underrated. And a lineman versatile too. He can move him around. The big hands, he is right now one-dimensional. And that's not because he can't play the run. It's just because they haven't played him against the run. So, and you can see it because he does hold up well against double teams when he does get double teamed. Usually those guys translate into pretty good run defenders, right? Mm-hmm. But here's the thing about the skill you want, and it's inside rush. We want an inside rush. You get the guy who best does it. And if he does it for 15 snaps a game, if he does it for 25 snaps a game, that all is going to be increased over time anyway, right? So, I mean, he's going to start small and then go from there. But when he does it, he is elite at doing it. That's what you want. They said, we want pass rush inside, interior pass rush. They got probably the best guy who does it in the draft. I mean, because think about it. If a guy's 34 ranked PFF overall, and he hardly plays against the run, then how good does his pass have to be? It just has to be phenomenal. So I love it. I think it's great. I think we can get a run stuffing D tackle later on. I said before, if you're not going to get one of the elite tackles who can do it all, you get a guy who's awesome at one thing, and then later on in the draft, you get a guy who's awesome at the other thing, and then you just rotate. That's what you do with the linemen. You rotate them.
That's it.
I'm seeing a false comment in the chat. I'm not going to display because it's just false news. IZH says IZH3131. There's a reason he has low snaps, off-field issues. He was only suspended for one game for an altercation that he had on the team in his college career. And this is according to Arrowhead Pride, which wrote a whole article about it. Outside of being suspended for a game during the 2023 season for a late game altercation the week prior, so nothing off the field, there was no knowledge of Lott having or displaying any off-field issues that would warrant a dip in his playing time. So nothing to do with any there's no character concerns with him. Charles Davis said it on the show or on the NFL Network panel, but it's not true.
He also alluded to maybe conditioning problems too, but if you can watch him rush the passer, he doesn't have conditioning problems.
Yeah.
Most people that watch all of the games, like the scouts that watch these games and the guys for like the 33rd team and the PFFs of the world, they just attribute to Tennessee's just wonky rotations. Pierce also was a victim of that too. And I know Pierce, character concerns. But that was the biggest thing with what Tennessee. They just have really weird rotations. And quite simply, I think PFF said this. Like, they had a guy who was better at run defense. It doesn't mean he's bad at run defense. They were just like, hey, on pure rush downs, we want a guy who's really better at it.
Right. He's not saying he can't. He can't do it.
He's another guy who can do it well. That's all.
Yeah. So the thing is, if you're only playing a limited amount of snaps, because you do have, like you said, a rotation that might not be, for you in your skill set, doesn't mean that the guy can't necessarily do this. I think, and I keep going back to saying, we need to quite understand exactly how this whole process works. The Chiefs have done their due diligence on each and every guy that's in the draft. They have. I mean, ad nauseum. I'm telling you, they've gone over it over and over again. Okay, this guy right here fits our system. The thing is, we've looked for a guy besides Chris Jones on the inside is going to be able to come in and consistently get pass rush and pressure on the quarterback. That's what we want to be able to generate. The two guys that we got in Gelate and Norman-Lott, all the two guys for us, especially in this draft. So he's a baller, man. He's an absolute animal. And if you sit there and you watch him in film, you can see it. You can see how he comes. He explodes with his hands. He's low. He stays low all the way through, and he comes off and sheds, and he comes to make plays. He does great in double teams. He can make plays in the backfield. Part of the problem what we had is penetration. The only one that was getting penetration from us consistently was Chris Jones. That now is going to change because not only do we have Omarr Norman-Lott, but also too we have a Menahu who's back as well. So he's going to fall into this rotation, and it's going to bode well for our defense. It is. So I tell you what, man, this is a great pick. Nobody should be disappointed. You're going to be disappointed because you don't know enough about a guy and you're looking at his ranking. But the Chiefs, I'm saying everything that's being said about him, they have dispelled all the rumors. They done with it, right? They took it for a reason. So if they felt fine with it, they good with it, I'm great with it. That's the way I look at it. Sure.
And also, too, JD, can you talk? Teja, you talked about the amount of snaps he played. I mean, this guy wasn't playing that much during games, but it still, came away with a lot of pass rush specialist and a beast. I saw someone say online that he only had 4 sacks last year. He only had 5.5 sacks last year. It's not a lot. I'm like, not a lot. First off, edge rushers in college, the good ones, they get from 8 to 12 sacks on a season, and that's a good edge rushers. We're talking about a D tackle who barely playing in the games. And he comes in and gets a sack his pass rush win rate wins 1 every 4, 1 every 5. I mean, that's 4 sacks is pretty good for a guy that's not playing a lot in these games.
It's not a lot. It's Norman-Lott.
There you go. You just continue to look for those ways to put those, like, oh, man. This guy.
I mean, you said lot like 3 times. I was like, man, I gotta pull the trigger on one of these. Just give me that little opening right there, man.
That's what I said the other day. Like, I like him a lot. Dang, gotta keep saying a lot. Like him.
Before you go on that, JD, I just want to say one thing about your last point you had.
Mm-hmm.
Wharton was not playing our run snaps, and he got friggin' paid. Why did he get paid? It wasn't for his run defense. Right. It was because he could get after the friggin' quarterback from a D tackle spot. That's it. Yes. You can do that, you get paid.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are getting paid insane money right now to get to the quarterback. Like above average D tackles in a rotation are getting like 15, 20 million a year. Okay. When you have a guy who's elite at that, who wins 1 out of every 5 times he rushes, forget about the sacks. Sacks sometimes are just luck. You end up like pulling the quarterback down. You want to win against the guy in front of you, and that's what he does every time. That's what you want. That's what you pay for. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think we're good. We're good on Norman-Lott.
I thought you were going to ask him to go on the snap count and stuff, all that sack stuff.
Oh, I mean, yeah, JD, can you just comment on that real fast? 4 sacks, 5.5 sacks for a defensive tackle. I mean, just forget the fact he doesn't play a lot, Norman-Lott, but 5.5 sacks is a lot for a defensive tackle.
A lot for a defensive tackle in college, right? And you're sitting there saying he had limited snaps. You know who's another guy, and I didn't even know this, but he was talking about it, was Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons said he didn't really have a whole lot of sacks in college. So he says he don't put a lot of stock in that because the thing is, hey, you know, he's coming into a whole different situation now. And we have guys that are run stoppers and stuff like that we can utilize. So we bring him in on passing downs or certain, particular situations and let him go eat. That's it. Bottom line. And if we need to keep him in there, being a run stopper, he can do that too. Like I said, penetration in the backfield kills everything. Kills a run, kills a pass, does all those different things. That's what we need. We need a disruptor. He is a disruptor. That's what you're looking for.
Yes. One of the biggest disruptors in the draft.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. You gotta love it. If you guys want to, because I know most of you guys in the chat, we wanted a defensive tackle this whole offseason, and we got him. And we got a guy who can go get the quarterback, and we're seeing all other counterparts in the conference. The Bills went and got TJ Sanders. The Bills went and got Landon Jackson. So everyone's trying to, kind of emulate what the Eagles did or what the Eagles have built over there, and everyone's doing it now. So you need a lot of pieces and depth in that defensive line, and Norman-Lott's a big part of what we're going to see over the next few years. So I'm really ecstatic about this pick.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.